All right, so we talk into the mic, but there's no actual audio coming out of the speakers. I guess they told us it's just for the camera. So my name is Nifty Sax, Milo Lombardi. This is Fifi Rong, and so first of all, we wanted to know who's familiar with music NFTs. Do you guys know what they are? Has anybody collected the music NFT? Somebody? One, two.
NFT.
All right.
Would you consider yourself as a part of the NFT community?
Nice. And so you guys go to Twitter Spaces, I assume. And okay, we got it too. We got two OGs maybe in the room. So yeah, you wanna say something about your experience first?
Yeah, I think we should introduce ourselves first. I'm Fifi Rong. I'm a singer-songwriter and music producer from London. I'm Chinese-British. And I came to the NFT community. I mean, I minted my first NFT 1.5 years or something like that ago, but I didn't consider myself as a part of the NFT community until 9 months ago. So I came to Twitter in the spaces, and at the time there wasn't a community in music NFT. There was just several people dotted around the net that I found, and Nifty Sax was one of them. And I was asking him questions about music NFT, how to do this, and he was very generous telling me answers. But then at the time I was like, why are you just telling me? This is not very economic of scale. Let's I want to share this information with more people. And also I noticed there's no community around it. Everybody thought they were the only people who were doing it, but I noticed like there's at least 10 here, and they're just everywhere. So I kind of like my position in music NFT community was to trying to tell people, hey, we have there's a bunch of us over here, there's a bunch of over there. So I just introduced myself, and the first thing we did one of the, I think we were the first space, Twitter space, music NFT weekly at the time, and then now it's called the Mastermind every Sunday, and then we have been doing it for 38 weeks, 9 months. And so we attract a lot of the OGs, the first people in music NFT. So it's the latest information. It's so grassroots that you can't find anywhere on YouTube or in a book, because the landscape of NFT changes all the time. So my position in this community would be connecting the dots and just being constantly there. And I'm really like the housewife of the music NFT spaces a lot. Usually we come to the community, we fall in love with the people, the community for a while. Usually the honeymoon lasts about 3 months that we spend 12 hours every day, getting very addicted to that, and then we get a little bit burnt out, and then you settle into back into a routine. So Nifty Sax has been here for a long time, so maybe you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I've been a musician all my life, but I was a nobody. I still am, but I was making a decent living as a musician, playing corporate events, weddings. I was playing a lot of jazz, jazz clubs, but that's not easy to make a living like that. But as soon as I entered NFTs, I realized there was a huge opportunity. I didn't see anybody making music as an instrumentalist. It's just me playing saxophone. That's all I do. And so far, I have sold more than 500 NFTs, and my music has generated more than $150,000. Which is pretty incredible for just a nobody. Any musician to make that kind of money, it's crazy. So I definitely stumbled upon something. I realized that if you have a niche and you really go with it, you can really make a living in NFTs, and that's really, really powerful. I've been hanging around the NFT space now for more than a year. I've been doing it every day. I just jumped in full on because the pandemic put me out of a job. I always was playing live music. And then I had a collection that was really successful called Nifty Sax Spheres. It was sold out in less than 12 hours. I applied a lot of things about what I've learned about NFTs. Also, there was a blind mint on a custom contract. We see here, Robin helped me. And we realized together that there was a gap in the market, so we also started Nifty Music, which you will see a poster there. If you scan it, it will take you to the website. We now are helping other people to do what I did, because we saw the change that happened with my life. Like now, I'm really happy. I'm making the music that I want to make, and it's crazy music. It's just saxophone. No label would ever pick it up. The last collection was 55 just saxophone tracks. It's crazy, but it generated so much money because it was so particular and it was structured in a certain way. So now we're doing it for other artists, and we had a really, really big drop recently with Violetta Zironi, who's an Italian singer, and so far she has sold 2,260 NFTs and generated more than 100 ETH. So that's what we want to do, and together with Fifi,
collectively with Nifty Music, including myself,
yes,
generated over 200 ETH.
Oh yeah. And and we had also another very successful collaboration with Fifi called Harmony. And yeah, we just saw that this is the way. This is the way to do it. Spotify, of course, didn't work. Streaming has failed us miserably. It doesn't work. But if we actually pick a niche, we can make money. We can actually sell music for what it's worth. Because anybody that makes music knows it's really hard. It's really hard to make a piece of music that people actually want to listen to. You know, it takes a lifetime. And it's ridiculous to sell it for 99 cents. Who said that's what music is worth? So, and also, you cannot sell this at the same price as Beyonce. You know, she sells 1 million copies. If I sell only 1,000, they have to be more expensive. And now I can do it because I can create the scarcity. And so we are very passionate about it. And we are seeing people change their life on a daily basis. And that's kind of what we wanted to share. Now, I want to see what Fifi has to say, and then I would like to talk with everyone if you have a question, if you're curious about music NFTs in general.
I think we can go straight to answering questions because that helps everybody more, right? That will bring out all the information that we know. Yeah. So so it's more interactive. Yeah.
Yeah. If anybody has any questions.
Yeah.
There's no stupid questions. Anything you'd like to know or anything.
Everybody. Okay. Yeah.
Tell us everything about the process of how do you actually achieve what you just told us?
Yeah. So, well, initially there is a learning curve. Like you do have to understand. First of all, the first issue is always security because you can get hacked. Like the blockchain cannot get hacked, but you can easily get hacked, like on Twitter and stuff like that. So you definitely don't want to lose all of your earnings. That is the first thing you got to learn. And second, you should enter the community. So go to Twitter Spaces. Fifi said already, like we are always very present and ask a lot of questions over there. That's where everybody is. So if you're on Instagram, you're doing NFTs wrong. Like you have to be on Twitter. That's where everybody is. And that's the second step. Just ask a bunch of questions. Go to Twitter Spaces. This is a great opportunity because you have actual artists talking about it. Like we do a weekly space every week since 9 months, and we're always happy to answer questions, just like here.
And also to build community, to build your own collector base, it's very important to be seen by the community because right now it's very, very small community. When I came, it didn't exist, but very, very soon you kind of need to be acknowledged by the elderly of the OGs. So you have a presence there, and then from that little core group, and people will be talking about you. You will see like how your influence grow. So there was, I'm just thinking who, I guess it's really important to have, like, once you set everything up, most people come to music NFT, they think, which platform do I release my NFT? How much? And what do I mean? I said, all these questions are irrelevant because the reason you will stay, the only reason you will stay in this community is because you make friends. Like I made friends, so I find myself staying. And you learn like a baby learning new language because it's not that easy to learn. But you just find yourself, I really like these people. And you find yourself very easy to learn this information. And while you're contributing and making friends, then people know that you're contributing to the community. And then that's when the collectors will come. You have a group, because without who you are selling to, you have the best products and no one's gonna buy it. So, we all made that mistake at the very beginning. And we minted something and then it's embarrassing. How am I gonna promote? You just don't know. So yeah.
Yeah, one more thing to that. So the first thing, of course, get accustomed with security and talk with other people. But another important thing is figure out why you want to do it. Because it's totally a fair reason you want to make money. That's fair. But make sure that the product that you're actually putting out there is something that you want to create. Because that's how you make money in NFTs. People collect you. They don't collect the music you make. They really want to know your story. That's the beauty of NFTs. They can connect with you. Before, you couldn't know your customers as a musician. You don't know if you have, I don't know if you have my MP3. I have no idea. But now I know that you have my NFT, and so I have a direct connection. So it's very important to make the music that you really want to make. So you don't have to create music that works for the algorithm. You just make the music that you want to create. It could be the craziest thing ever, and that's what people want to collect. So there's definitely, it's a process. Like you probably have to spend a couple of months, 2 or 3 months, but trust me, if you do it properly, it works. It's really quite something. You start to sell your music, and it feels really good because people really value it if they have a direct connection with you. Yeah.
Let's maybe dive into that. So as a user, to me, it's still not clear what I'm really buying.
Yes, this is question number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reality.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe just from your perspective.
Yeah.
What do you think you're selling?
What
Yeah.
are you selling?
So this question comes up so much. I will say a few words, then I will let Fifi speak. So the first thing to keep in mind is an NFT, think of it as a vinyl. When you're buying a vinyl, you have a copy of the music, so you can play it for you, for your friends, and that's it. You cannot put it in a movie and get money from it. Right? You just own a copy. That's the same thing. You just own a digital copy, and it's signed by the artist. That's the same thing. Then the beauty of NFT is that you can attach all of these things if you want. If you want to attach a non-exclusive license, you can say, hey, I sell you my NFT for $1,000, but if you want, you can try to sync it to movies, and then you keep the profit if you want. That's up to you. Or maybe I send you a physical copy of the vinyl, or maybe I send you a VIP pass. Maybe I give you free tickets for life to my concerts. There's so many things you can attach to it because now I can attest that you actually bought it because I see it on the blockchain. So that's why it's so powerful. Because before, I have no idea who has my music. Now I really have a certifiable way to know, okay, you have bought my biggest NFT. I will give you everything I have, all of my merch, all of my passes. We'll have dinner after the concert, all stuff like that. And that is really beautiful.
So the underlying thing what Nifty is saying is the freedom. As a creator, you can do whatever you want. You can sell all your rights attached to it if you choose to. But by default, there's no right of the music, like a publishing right, the recording itself, performance right. There's no right attached to it. So it's like it's a digital collectible. It's a signature, but it's a digital signature on the blockchain, as if it was a vinyl. So when it comes to that, you have the freedom, the degree to which you attach all the rights to it. I have an example. A friend of mine who was very, very early, was before Kings of Leon. They had like a little kind of like a battle who was the first NFT album. So this person, he made an album called Crypto Shark, and he wanted to make a point to make $100,000 to sell all the rights to it, just to show people the concept that I can. I don't need to go through a record label, and that's really important as a creator. So that's kind of, yeah.
Could you explain how it would go from, let's say you made a track in Ableton to getting it on the blockchain?
Sure. So getting it on the blockchain itself is very simple. First of all, the music does not go on the actual blockchain. So what you're selling is basically a pin to find the piece of music on the, if you want, on the IPFS, so in the interplanetary file system. You can put the music wherever you want. You can put it on Amazon Web Services. It's just you're selling a link to a file, which is hidden. So unless you actually have the NFT, you don't know where that is. So that's what you're selling. So basically, after Ableton, you export your WAV file. If you want, you can convert it to MP3, and then there are several ways to go about it. The easiest thing would be to use a platform that does everything for you. So you just upload the MP3, put the metadata, so the title, the artist, and the description, and that's it. So before that, you should probably choose your blockchain, because that's where you will transact. So if you believe in Ethereum in the long term, then probably that's where you will put it. There are other options like Polygon, which is a side chain of Ethereum, but there's so many options. So first, probably before even putting it out, after having the mix done and the master, is doing some research about which blockchain. And I think it's totally fine to start with some platforms, but always be very careful, because some platforms take maybe too much of, like, you don't need a platform necessarily. Like, you could learn how to release it by yourself, but that's difficult. So I would definitely start on a platform like OpenSea is the most common one. Mint Songs is another common one on Polygon. And just familiarize yourself with the process, and you will realize that it's basically kind of like uploading your music to SoundCloud. That's what it is like. It's very simple. And then you just choose a price and don't undersell it. I know that now we've been used like, oh, I'm gonna sell it for like $10. No, sell it for 150 at least. Like, a piece of music takes so much work. It's crazy that we sell it for so little, especially if it's a one-of-one. One-of-one meaning that you're not gonna ever put it out again. That's it. So one-of-one, you sell it for like $1,000. Otherwise, you can maybe make 100 copies and you sell it for $100, and that's pretty good money, I would say.
It's really interesting hearing what you say. I mean, I've worked in music tech all my career, but what I'm really understanding from your perspective, particularly, is selling the underlying rights in terms of the recording and publishing, and how clear are you about that? I mean, I've been looking. Currently I run a music promotions platform, and we are looking at moving into this space, and fortunately we've received some funding for that. But I'm really interested in your experience. I mean, clearly building community is really important in terms of developing, a need and an understanding of the music. But actually, how clear are you about what you're saying?
So yeah, this is an important question, and it comes up a lot, definitely. So you're never giving away intellectual property, that's for sure. So your copyright, whenever you create something, that's with you from the moment of creation. Then it's all about proving that you created it. So that's why you register it with a PRO or something like that. Yes. Yes, that is very important. Of course, you can do anything you want. You can give away everything, but that, of course, would be more expensive. But absolutely, we always recommend to register your songs with Web 2 systems, like any PRO. And so your intellectual property stays with you. Then you can discuss with your community maybe to send a share of the Web 2 royalties. Like, when I release this album on Spotify, I will send maybe 10% to all my holders. But the thing is that Web 2 royalties are so insignificant compared to Web 3 that it's not even worth the hassle, probably, like all the complications. So in general, it's always good to just do both. Register your songs with Web 2, release them on Web 3 and Web 2. Because once you make enough money in Web 3, Web 2 becomes just an advertising platform. If your music on Spotify is good, like you can listen to the Nifty Sax Fears on Spotify because it's just easy. People get in their car and they can listen. But it doesn't matter if I make like 2 cents from Spotify. Who cares? If I made like $50,000, I'm okay with that project. I don't need any extra revenue. So yeah, definitely I would recommend to do both.
That's the reality. 95% of tracks on Spotify, artists on Spotify,
Yeah.
are less than $1,000 a year. So I mean, that's clearly the reality. But I mean, we are seeing. I mean, for me, what interests me is a conversion between Web 2 and Web 3. I mean, I manage content ID for a number of artists and collect quite significant royalties.
Yeah.
But actually, I think the biggest issue that I've seen in the industry, in the change in the industry, is moving from, a streaming service. Essentially, what it's doing is delaying your payments. So the average max payments these days are around about 36 months, whereas they used to be 6 weeks in the days of vinyl and before.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. Actually, it's much more direct. When you make a sale in Web 3, you have it directly. So it will be difficult for the middleman, for sure. like if you are a middleman in between the customer and the producer. Yeah, exactly. Beautiful.
Develop their brand and develop their community. So we do that through YouTube with an extensive network of YouTubers who use the music, and we manage and collect content IP. But I'm really interested in engaging with you guys and seeing how we can also look at developing that into more of the Web3 community.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. One thing that we usually say in Web3 is that music is moving towards like the freemium model. Like it's free to listen. You can listen to it anywhere. Like I'm not gonna block you. Like I'm not gonna like go and snipe like your with your content ID. I'm gonna block your video. Like use it. Like really put it anywhere. But it's expensive to own. It's free to listen, expensive to own. So
it's a big trade of Web3. It's the ownership. It's the consumption is free, right? People want to listen to it for free, and then that's the advertising side he mentioned. Just a little bit housekeeping. Are we talking too fast? Is he talking too fast? No, okay, cool. Because I just saw some maybe translation going on. Just wondering if it's, Yeah. Okay, so in that case, that's fine. Yeah, so what was the... I think that was the end of the conversation, right? Do you have a follow-up question?
Well, I think artists these days anyhow need to try and get their revenues from as many different sources as they possibly can.
yeah.
Obviously, we've seen over the last few years that performance has disappeared. And that's 50% of their income.
Absolutely. The difficulty right now is a lot of artists don't understand the barrier to entry is quite high, and a lot of people, yes, they are struggling, but what's more fear for them is to learn something new. And I'm already really struggling here, running out of my time. How do I learn a whole new thing? Because Web3 career is a full-time thing. You really need to understand it first, and then make this community and be really diving in really deep. And then it takes quite a bit of a leading time to actually starting to profit from it. And it's not for everybody. So that's the hardest part. Every day I have conversations like this. There are millions of artists out there, and we try to help them to make a full-time living, a very comfortable living. And that's my dream as well. But how do we do that? And then every conversation people ask is, how do we onboard people? How do we onboard a new artist? And it's tough. And how do we convert the current fans, which you have mentioned, to Web3? When people are not ready, we don't try to push them because it seems like a cult, like, oh, come, it's really beautiful here. But yeah, people, when you push them, they resist. So we only onboard people who are already kind of ready. So you have a question, you want to come in, you just don't know how. So we onboard that kind of people, and then we'll create a ripple effect of like these people would be more. And then we use attraction power. Like, I'm so excited, I transitioned to Web3. My fans will be like, why is she glowing? Why is she so happy? Why is she so freer than ever, right? So this kind of thing is attractive. And then this is like you create that curiosity rather than push them in. So that's kind of the current situation.
One question, please. Do you guys have maybe more concepts now than before whole blockchain story, or is there more people on concepts, or all money is coming only from selling NFTs?
That's a great question. So with Corona, I personally have not, I have not restarted my full, my shows. I have not restarted, but definitely what I'm getting now is many more requests for shows. So I'm planning actually an actual tour. Before I was just playing shows, like I lived in Berlin, I was just playing shows around town. Now I'm playing like a US tour because I'm getting much more activity on my music. Definitely, yeah. Like it's just more eyes on what I do. And the thing is that the people that bought my stuff or maybe know about my stuff are very interested about it. So because it's so niche. So it's actually a more loyal following. So which is very interesting for me. I never really had that. I was just a working musician, just a saxophone player playing with a bunch of bands. Now I have like a brand, which is interesting. What about you, Fifi?
For me, from my own experience today, this morning we played the opening, and that was like a last minute, unrehearsed. It seemed like it was rehearsed, but it wasn't. And so we found out about this show this morning, yesterday's morning. So it was very spontaneous. And then this show was the real stage after 2 years and a half that I have been on. So I didn't play shows for that much. That long. The reason for that is because I've been through this transition, not that I couldn't play show, but the previous framework doesn't work for me anymore. I used to do like a 26, 27 show, headline shows and tours a year, and then there was good money. Yes, pandemic hit, and then there was, say, every time there's a invitation, and they would pay something like, say, £500. But for me to get ready for a whole show with the dancers, with the lighting and everything, it's not worth it if I don't have a lot of show going. And I come from London, and London pay very little to artists. I don't want to support that model anymore. So now we kind of like have a restart. And in Web3, there's a lot of requests and a lot of interest. So if we are singing to the people who understand the NFT, that is much more, not much better for my soul anyway. Yeah.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Anybody curious? Sure.
What are some of the more like innovative things you've seen in music NFTs that like excite you, I guess?
Yeah, so many. Yeah, today we had a good meeting. There's so many things happening because there's so much freedom in music NFTs. We have seen basically
How many is a good one?
Yeah, you can take
No,
it.
okay.
So yeah, like what excites me the most is that now music is not just music; it can be so much more. So first of all, it of course is access directly to the artist, but it's all of it. You can be very creative with what you provide, and I've seen a lot of creative ways of, for example, I've seen people maybe sell stems. And then the collector has to actually put together a song, and everybody gets a different song. That's so cool. Like it couldn't really happen before. Then of course Kanye came out with this player where actually you could do it physically. I don't even know what was it called, the Kanye thing. Do you know? But yeah, so he did it in a way where you could. Sorry, what was it?
He doesn't count, he's a genius.
Yeah. But yeah, so things like that for example is very exciting. What we're planning, for example, with Fifi, like we have she's going to do a drop with Nifty Music, our startup, and we're planning, like people always talk about the roadmap in NFTs. We're planning, for example, a treasure map, like where you actually have to collect different NFTs to get to collect a very rare NFT. That's something that creates a little bit more incentives to actually go and collect the music. So it's a bit of a game. And once you have collected a rare NFT this way, a rare piece of music, it feels also more special. And the artist is going to be also very grateful to this person. So you're going to create a relationship. This is something that happened to me as well. People that collected my NFTs, some of the rarest ones, I have a direct relationship with them. And now I even talk to them about my next drop. So it's almost like you have a little bit of a network of investors, that advisors also, like they advise you on your next drop. So that to me is very exciting. You can think of yourself more of a startup, and this is some of the things. What about you, Fifi?
Oh, I think the most exciting thing about strategizing a music NFT drop or just music NFT release is that you put all of your entrepreneurial creativity into this. And Nifty Saxer, by the way, is like in this space, he's the best strategist around, I think, because we're in a very close proximity. Thinking it's like almost like playing chess. It's like you are thinking from the utility, you're thinking what would trigger that slot machine effects. It's like, I want more, so inventing that game plan is very exciting for us, not just using our creativity for creating music. We're using it to do a whole game plan. So by that, there's so many things we can say. I want to talk about harmony, how we structure as community building. But before that, in a general thing, when you talk about a collection, it's more like, it's like you guys are familiar with PFP. So you can use PFP kind of like a different layers, different rarities, but attached to music as well. You can use all those different ways and a different unique combination. So music, to make, say, 1,000 of unique combination, you have to think about AI, generative music. A lot of people are doing that. But ultimately, I think that is a bit of a hype. And then ultimately, the artist, you want to hear people who are deliberately creating. So the generative has its own thing, but in the long term, it's not. I don't see that has a big, huge space like, oh, the whole music scene is just moving to generative music. So then we have to invent in the ways, how do we get the gaming side into music NFT, and how do we make the PFP trades into coincide with music NFT. So by that, there's another layer. The most important thing is, how do you use music NFT to build community? So that leads to the harmony we were doing. So we kind of flip the script a little bit, because in NFT, the biggest fear is rug, right? So you hype it up, you sell like several million of, everybody's really excited, and then suddenly you are scared like they just disappear, because that is a likelihood and it happens. So what we did was, we want to create a structure that's anti-rug. So we started at irrefusable price, very, very low price, and we select our collectors. We collect our collectors. So we pick the most dedicated, the most experienced collectors, and they are community leaders. So at the very, Harmony is a 7-drop collection, and then the first drop was only 7 additions, 7 NFTs from this one drop, and at a very few price, and then people have to fill out a form. So we get to choose them. That's completely the opposite way, like trying to get whitelist and getting thousands sold. No, like, we are not after the money. We're not after the money. We're after the people. Right, so people are like, oh, this is really interesting. That's already a good PR. And then the second drop, we increase the price a little bit, and and after 7 drop, we increase by every week. We increase by 7 people, and then after a while, the FOMO was starting to, people say, oh, this is really interesting, and it becomes a momentum. So by the end of it, it's very unnoticeable. But like 2 months later, we sold 27 ETH. So it's a kind of exponential kind of thing. And then that was also the first, I think it's the first that we do it this way. So it's an example.
Yeah. Now, one more thing I want to say about the anti-rug. I think music NFTs also are kind of the anti-rug by default, because the musicians have their face out there. It's not just some random team of kids in their basement creating a project and then selling millions and then disappearing. Like, a musician is there, and they've been there for a while, and now they started their career. So why would they disappear all of a sudden? Like, it doesn't work that way. So it's a very safe investment, if you want to put it that way. It's just much, for me personally, it's much better, because I know directly the person. With a PFP project, there's just many people involved. Sometimes it could be a scam, so it's scary. Music NFTs are a little bit less scary. That's all.
Because the nature of musicians is, we do music as a calling. If we wanted to be rich, then you wouldn't choose music to start with, right? So for people who understand this, and for the long-term investment, that's why we're so bullish on music NFT, because the nature of us is that we put our face out there for 10 years, and we've been grinding in Web2 for so many years. Music is more important than anything else, being able to freely create. So if you invest in that, and this person has good work ethic for many, many years, then the chances of this person doing music NFT, the floors is gonna hold, because they're gonna keep working hard. Where are we gonna run to, right? It's just not worth it. So yeah.
I think maybe there was one more question. Oh.
partly responded right now, but I wanted to ask about, you mentioned also before a roadmap. So basically, what does your community expect from you? Usually PFP has a roadmap and like we will do this and this and this, and if it's not fulfilled, then the community starts to get angry, they pressure the artists, and well, and it doesn't go well. So I guess in music
Yeah.
communities are maybe a little bit different, but let's say you can make an album and you can make it great, and maybe you don't feel like making music after that. So you could be rugging them in that sense. So I don't know, what do they expect? Do they pressure you? Is it cool?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So first of all, I think it's probably very rare from a musician to stop making music. I have never seen that happen in my life ever. But so that's, for example, that's why.
Making bad music, like usually musicians,
Yeah.
they got older, they don't make good music.
Or you can sell your NFT, right?
Yeah, no, I see. So basically, it's a good question. So it's you can always sell your NFT. Of course, if you don't like the music anymore, there will always be other people that like it. That maybe they like the new music. I mean, good artists always evolve, and they always lose some of the old fans, and they gain new fans. So that's normal in the music industry. Has always happened. Apart from some artists that always make the same shit, and then they always have the same fans. But usually, artists evolve. And so that's totally fine. But the beauty about this is that if you want to get out, you can get out, and you have liquidity. You can actually get your money back, or maybe even make a profit. Probably make a profit because the artist maybe has increased in popularity. And in terms of roadmap, usually what artists offer is what I was talking about before, the utility of music. First of all, many people say music is the utility. Yes, that's true. Music is a utility in itself. You can listen to it and be happy. But many people offer also physical merch. They offer access directly to the concerts and many other things. But in general, if somebody becomes disappointed in the article or they don't like it anymore, they just get out. They sell the NFT, and that's it. It would be bad if an artist maybe all of a sudden didn't let all of their collectors in a show. Maybe that would be kind of a rug. That would be the only way. But it would be so bad.
I think celebrity job is like inside the community is the least recommended one because they have already had like a very happening career, and usually what happens is they have a collaboration with an agency, right? And then they come say, oh, NFT is this hot thing, and then they come in for 2 seconds and then sold out, and then they leave. They don't even keep developing this NFT thing, and then their floor price will drop like 80%, 90%, and then that happens a lot. So that's why if I invest, I'm a collector myself, so if I invest, I wouldn't buy those big celebrity jobs so much. Yeah, so to invest in music NFT, usually you have to see this person, how hard they work, what's the trajectory of their career is. So yeah, and then it doesn't happen to everybody. It's not like it's a safe bet on everybody. Some people might be really great Web2 musician, but you see them dipping in and out, and then that kind of thing, I wouldn't invest in that. So yeah, so you have to see, do you believe in this person? So we always come back to the first point we made, which is you buy into this person rather than yeah.
It's like investing in an early startup. You have a chance that it becomes a unicorn. Like if you invest in an artist that you believe, like if you know music, this artist is good, or it's just you like it because you think what they're doing is good, and you have a chance that they blow up, and it's cool. I personally, I'm really excited about that because as a collector also myself, I like to invest in young artists, and a lot of other people like that as well. They like to help people make music. So it's a really kind of a win-win situation. The artists win because they are able to support themselves and to record new albums. And people that like to support music, they can do that, and they can always also make a profit. Like with NFTs, you can always buy 2 or 3 and you can sell a couple and keep one for yourself. So it's a beautiful thing. I think we had one more here.
Yeah, rather than just putting your phone in front of you and playing acoustically, is there a good way to perform live on Spaces?
Yeah. There is. So with iRig, you can do that. iStream is even better. So basically, if you have an audio interface with the RCA out. You just plug it from the output to the iRig, and then the iRig goes into your phone. And then you can have your whole studio coming from your audio interface into the phone. That's probably the best way. You have to just be careful about the levels. You have to make sure that you actually have somebody telling you if it sounds too hot or too low. Yeah. Someone else listening, or maybe yourself listening from your PC, because you can be a listener from your PC. That's probably the easiest way, because iRig or iStream is like 30 or 40 euros, and that's it. That's all you need. If you already have a home studio, you just add this little thing coming out from your output. That's it. That's the best. But if you're just playing guitar, it might be even better just to put your phone on your desk. I know a lot of people that do that, and it sounds pretty good. Thank you.
I think it's about time.
Yeah.
If you want to connect, we'll be over here. That's the QR code. I don't have mine, but I have my phone.
On your phone.
So you can scan and to keep in contact, and then maybe find us on Twitter Space.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you every week. If you have any new questions, we can keep in touch.
Absolutely. Yeah, so Fifi Rong, my name is Nifty Sax. You can find us on Twitter. I see you around.